Now, Conklin and Company continues with Take 3, commentary and analysis from our panel of political contributors.
Welcome back, everyone. Take 3 with Tom Troy and Skylar Meadows. Good to see both of you. Happy New Year.
Great to be here.
You know, we go back a couple of days, Tom, and you said here's what's going to happen. The council is going to slam dunk for Matt Cherry. Indeed, that was the case. New council, new mayor, new dynamic. Where do we go from here? Tom, we'll start with you.
That's a good question. Of course, we went into that council meeting with all kinds of rumors, and almost every one of them involved two people, Cardi Finkbeiner, Jack Ford. None of them really came true. Jack Ford just wanted to be a member of council. Matt Cherry is going to filled in the position that was vacated when Mike Collins became mayor. He's going to have to run. Everybody says it's going to be a very uphill battle for him, but he was the first one to vote on the very first ordinance of the night. This was last Thursday night, and you know, it was an item to actually expand economic development in the city of Toledo. So they're off to a pretty good start, I would say.
Okay, Skylar Meadows.
Well, I think that one of the things that we need to look at, I have my quote here, I don't want to misquote in the new year, is how the mayor is going to interact with council, because he's been the, you know, dissenter a lot of times against the mayor. So here's the quote. This is from Ignacio Messina on December 31st. Creating unnecessary acrimony is unfortunate. And this is Collins, and he's saying this, Mayor Collins now, in the context of, you know, Chief Diggs and his refusal to do some things and sign some forms. But I'm just saying, I find that very telling. The king of acrimony now gets promoted to the 22nd floor, and he's the leader. How's that going to work?
It is interesting.
Right, how's that going to work? The other thing is that when you're talking about Jack Ford, I was a little surprised that he didn't want president of council. That was interesting, but Paula Hicks Hudson returns as president of council.
He's been there and done that, right?
But he's been there and done the whole thing. I mean, you know.
So we move forward, 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards, and vice versa. Is it 2 steps back? Let's a quick look at the 4 years of Mike Bell. Leaving Mike Collins with what?
Well, a pretty clean slate and a pretty positive place to go from. Balanced budget. There was a project in the works, as I said. The first thing Collins gets to do is sign off on a deal to create 72 additional jobs and bring a corporate headquarters and a showroom here, sell off some city-owned land. So, you know, Bell could have been reelected, I think, based on his record. He chose to run his campaign in a certain way that some people thought was fundamentally flawed. But in any case, he lost the election. He left a pretty clean slate for Mike Collins to build on. Yeah. And Mike Collins' his campaign is based on the kinds of things that you would expect. They're based on improving neighborhoods, improving city services.
He doesn't have a disastrous economic situation to walk into, Skylar.
No, he doesn't. And I just wanted to talk about what Tom Troy said about the election. It's really not a fundamental flaw, is it? It's just the personal smackdown from labor and others who felt that stepping out as the mayor saying SB 5 was A-OK is not A-OK. So that's one thing, you know what I'm saying? So now the new mayor inherits what? Like you said, a clean slate, a good-looking council, a good-looking, you know, a portfolio. So how will the new finance director, ex-council member, do? That's going to be something. And who will be the new finance chair? Those two things are important.
Speaking of George Sarantu, and that's as we look forward. Well, you mentioned SB 5, the smackdown. John Kasich was part of that deal too. John Kasich, we get news that a Tea Party candidate wants to jump in, challenge Kasich in the primary. Fitzgerald has a challenger in Rob Portune. So both of them will have to deal with primary challenges looking forward this year. Skylar.
I think it's awesome that people have a choice. Now the voters have to step up and vote. Yes, because, and also, you know, Richard Cordray's name has been thrown around out on some blogs, some political blogs that
come back from Washington.
He hasn't said anything about it, but I'm just saying, what if he did? So 3 possibly on the Democratic side and strong 1, the incumbent, and then the Tea Party guy on the Republican side.
These are probably both of no serious consequence to either Kasich or Fitzgerald. They might even be good for them, kind of a warm-up act before they have the main event, because neither one of them has the resources or the backing to be anything more than an irritant in the primary.
Is that because Portune declared before, you know, he's done this before, saying he wants to run for statewide office, and then at the 11th hour, seeing no support?
Well, I don't know that much about his backing. I just know that he's not, doesn't have any high-profile name recognition in the state. Kasich has, from a Republican point of view, has had a pretty successful run. There's no question that he's going to get re-nominated unless something unexpected, really unexpected happens. And the same goes with Fitzgerald. He's very well known within the Democratic Party. He's got the backing of all the party officials.
How much does, if this goes to November, how much does picking this running mate who had a disastrous situation with his taxes, has to back out? He's got, what, almost $900,000 in tax liens?
Right.
Does that come back to bite Fitzgerald in November?
It goes to Fitzgerald's judgment, and the fact that he didn't vet this guy, Senator Kearney, Eric Kearney, who's a well-respected person, but one of his claims to fame is that he's, FBI, former FBI agent. He should have looked into his background a little bit, been able to see some of his landmines.
Looked into his background. He knows what that is. I think that it won't necessarily come back to bite because it happened so early on. If the next person picked is strong and their record is flawless, like you said, they've taken that FBI microscopic look.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's going to be
it's too early.
Right. It happened early enough in the campaign that it can be chalked up to a forgotten mistake. And as far as Kasich goes, he's got the Tea Party. The Tea Party is backing this opponent, and the Tea Party is really giving him a hard time. I just don't expect them to actually defeat him, but they might have some effect on bringing him back rightward, back towards the conservative wing of the party, which could be a problem for him in the general.
So would that make Kasich, I'm sorry, would that make Kasich then look a little more moderate? He doesn't need to, and he doesn't desire to. I'm not speaking for him.
Could elicit some very interesting quotes from John Kasich, though.
Sure.
You can get him riled up a little bit. Could be interesting going forward. Skylar, Tom, thanks as always. That was too quick. See you next time on Conklin Company. Take care, everybody.